A world older than the story. Ruins of forgotten ages. Forests older than kingdoms. Roads that stretch across the world. Welcome to Middle-earth. Greetings, legendary readers. Welcome to Larry's Legendary Library, where we explore science fiction, fantasy, and the deeper wonder within them. This month on Larry's Legendary Library, we've been exploring epic worlds, the kinds of settings that make science fiction and fantasy feel vast and alive. Most fantasy worlds feel like a backdrop for a story, but Middle-earth feels different. It's ancient, it's layered, it's lived in. There are ruined watchtowers on lonely hills, lost kingdoms remembered only in songs, roads that were already old when the story began. And that raises a fascinating question. Why does Middle-earth feel so real? Today we're stepping inside Middle-earth to explore how J.R.R. Tolkien created one of the most believable fantasy worlds ever imagined. One of the first things you notice about Middle-earth is that it feels incredibly old. Not just old as in a kind of medieval setting, but old in the sense of deep time. Everywhere the characters travel, they encounter remnants of forgotten ages. The ruins on Weathertop, the fallen greatness of Gondor, the silent halls of Moria, once filled with the glory of the dwarves. These places are not just scenery. They are reminders that the story we are reading is only the latest chapter in a much longer and larger history. Tolkien actually developed thousands of years of history for Middle-earth, stretching back through earlier ages long before The Lord of the Rings begins. I'm currently reading Silmarillion, and it is really fascinating how Tolkien takes us back to the very beginnings and shows us how all this came into being. Many of the characters we meet in The Lord of the Rings feel like living relics of that ancient past. Elrond, for example, remembers wars that took place thousands of years earlier. Galadriel has seen entire civilizations rise and fall. This sense of deep history gives Middle-earth something most fictional worlds lack: the feeling that life was already happening here long before the story began. Another reason why Middle-earth feels so real comes from something unusual about Tolkien himself. He wasn't just a storyteller, he was a philologist, a scholar of languages. In fact, Tolkien began creating the languages of Middle-earth before he created the stories. He invented entire linguistic systems like Quenya, the ancient language of the elves, and Sindarin, the most commonly spoken elven tongue. These weren't just random words. They had grammar, they had structure, they had history. And once Tolkien created these languages, he asked a fascinating question. What kind of people would speak them? From that question emerged entire cultures, elven civilizations, ancient migrations, lost kingdoms. So in a sense, Tolkien didn't just invent characters and place them into a world. He built the world itself out of language. That's one reason why even the names in Middle-earth feel meaningful and consistent. They come from real linguistic systems that Tolkien carefully designed. Another layer of realism comes from Tolkien's use of geography. The landscape of Middle-earth isn't just a backdrop. It shapes the story. The Misty Mountains form a massive barrier dividing east and west. The peaceful Shire is tucked away in the northwest, isolated and protected. and the dark land of Mordor is surrounded by mountains that act like a natural fortress. These geographical features influence everything. Travel becomes dangerous and difficult. Journeys take weeks or even months. Paths and passes become strategically important. And as the Fellowship travels across Middle-earth, we feel the weight of that distance. It's not just a quick jump from place to place. It is a long and perilous road and journey. This careful attention to geography makes the world feel grounded and believable. When you step back and look at Middle-earth as a whole, you can see that Tolkien built his world using these powerful layers. First, history, thousands of years of legends and wars and lost civilization. Second, languages, entire linguistic traditions shaping cultures and identities. And third, geography, mountains, rivers, forests, kingdoms, arranged in ways that actually influence the story. And when these three elements come together, something remarkable happens. The world begins to feel real, not just like a stage set for a story, but like a place that could exist beyond the pages of the book. Great fantasy stories take us on an adventure, but the greatest ones do something more. They create worlds that feel bigger than the story itself, worlds that feel ancient, worlds that feel mysterious, worlds that invite us to keep exploring long after the last page is turned. And that may be Tolkien's greatest achievement. He just didn't write a story about Middle-earth. He created a world that generations of readers have continued to explore ever since, even until today. Legendary readers, I'd love to hear from you. If you could visit one place in Middle-earth, where would you go? The Shire, Rivendell, Minas Tirith, or even Mordor? Let me know in the comments. I always love to hear from you. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and keep exploring the deeper wonder.